everyone, just a fantastic AC/DC song I've wanted to learn for quite a while. I kind of knew the lick, recognized it, but never really sat down and learned it. So here we are. We're in standard tuning. I wrote this out. My notes are below. We're going to go through all the parts for you, including the lead, and you'll be able to play the song. This opening lick's really centered around the A pentatonic. We're going to be moving between the 5th position and up to 9 here with our 3rd finger. And that's how we really begin. We'll be on the 3rd string. We're going to slide from 7 to 9 on that 3rd string and then hit 8 right below it. Then he holds that with some vibrato for a little bit. Then we start it over. But then what we do is come back to 9 with a real quick kind of a movement. It's a slide back to 7 and a pull off to 5. So it'll sound like this. Then we're going to grab the 4th string at 7. Then just lay it down and grab the 3rd string back at 7 to 5. Back to 7. Alright. So what we have so far is this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we catch 7. And then we're going to hit the open A. Alright, that open A will let us push into, basically, we're hammering into an A chord. So we'll be at the 5th fret on the 4th, 3rd, 2nd string, hammering into the 3rd string. 2 more hits on A, then 7 on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. Alright, so from that hammer, let's take it from the A. So those A's, they're integral to it because we're going to do one more before we start over again. That 2nd A is almost palm muting. So we're going to do that whole lick a total of 4 times. On the 5th time, we'll come through it. We'll stop on that 4th string at 7, I'm sorry. Then we go right into an A power chord to a D power chord. Then we'll come up to a C power chord, and we're going to hit the A as we lift off. Back to an A. At that point, we've got another little part of the opening. These 2 measures are really the chorus. So we're going to start off with our 5 hammering in to the 6th fret on that 3rd string. And then we jump back to the C to A. Alright, so this first measure, we'll play it together. Again, this is just after the A to D and then the C. Alright. Alright, so we'll repeat that. Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have that, we'll call it the second half of the intro, but it's really the chorus. And then they're into verse 1. Now verse 1 changes a bit. We're going to be writing, this is very similar to the Aerosmith song we just did. We're going to be writing on an A with some notes on the D string underneath. Okay, so for the verse, there's two parts to it. Let's look at the first part and then we'll talk about the second part. The first part is 2 measures long and it repeats 4 times. It'll sound like this. Alright, so I did it twice through there. So what we're doing is writing on that A string, sort of palm muted, but we're going to hit 5 to 4, back to 5 the first time as we go through it. So it'll sound like this. Then we're going to ride on that open 5th string muted. It'll be 4 more times and then we're kind of starting the next measure with 1 more hit on that open. Then we go into hitting 5 twice before we go back to 4/5. Then we're going to hit that open string muted to 7 and open, and then hit it again muted. Alright, so all together this half measure will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I started to go into the next half. It's just so easy because it really flows when you get it down. So let's do both of them together. The first measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, now we'll repeat that one more time. And then we're into the second half of the verse. The second half of the verse really kind of accentuates the chords that's going on. So we're going to go to an A, to a G, to a D, and then we'll end on a D again, and you'll see how it all fits together. But what's different about it is we're doing basically that second half of the verse lick where we hit 5 twice and 4, 5, all right? And then we hit an open once to an A twice, power chord. Okay, so again. Then we come back and do it with our 7. Then we repeat it and we'll go to a G. Come back to the 7, back again to a D, back again to the 7, then we're going to be basically ending the verse with 3 Ds held. Then we go to an F power chord and a G power chord. Into the chorus. Alright, so let's go through all of that at a slow speed so you can get a feel for it. We'll go A, G, D, and then we'll end with 3 Ds to F and G. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is the verse, the 2 differences in the 4 measures of the verse. We'll go over the chorus again and continue on. So the chorus is just like we learned earlier in the last half of the intro, but let's go through it at least 1 measure so you can just get a feel for it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would repeat, and that is the chorus. Now, post-chorus, we're into verse 2, but just before verse 2, they're going to do what I'm calling a tag. It's just, it leads us into the verse. And it's basically the first measure of the verse that we know. We learn two halves of the verse. It's the first half, just one measure, but it's played without too much muting. So it'll sound like this. Then they get into the verse. Alright, so we know that. But that tag is just one extra. So chorus 2 is just like we've learned. Alright, we're going to end with our... Then we come into the solo rhythm. Now the way I wrote the solo rhythm out, I wrote the chords in just letters. Alright, E, G, A. I put the G under parentheses just so you know it's not, you don't have to play a full G. It's more of a, just playing the 4th and 3rd string in the middle as you go between the E and the A. I'll do a couple measures so you can really get the feel for it. Alright, that's really the first measure. So we got E to our basically 4th and 3rd G, down to A, and then we hit A again 2 more quick times. We'll do that 3 times. After the 3rd time, we just go to a G power chord, a full one, and then a D. Alright, now we're going to do the same 3 parts of the measure. So we end the second measure with a pull down from the 6th string at 3 to an E. We'll do that twice. Now we go into it one more time, at least one more measure I should say. 3/4 of the measure are the E, G, A. Alright, and then we're going into a post-solo rhythm. So what they do is go to a G after the 3rd time through, and then a D and hold that, and then an A, which kind of takes us into that post-solo rhythm, which you'll recognize. Alright, so let's do the very last measure together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So our post-solo lick will come through the lick up to the 4th string at 7. We're not going to go into the A and then the D with our hammer on. Alright, so it'll sound like this. Then he hits an A power chord 3 times. Okay, that'll go on twice. Now we're going to do this lick a total of 3 more times. Alright, after the 3rd time, we're just going to stop after our pull-off on the 7 to the 4th string. Alright, so we do that twice. At that point, we're going to do one more time through the whole lick up to the 7 again before we hit into the bridge rhythm. So that will be the actual, let's see, after 2 times of the shortened, that will be the last measure. So let's go all through this. I know it's really confusing. Think of it as A twice power chord. All right, the lick 3 times, the shortened lick twice, and then the lick once. Okay, so we have this. Then we are into what is considered a bridge with the rhythm chording. So next we go into this bridge rhythm chording. It's going to be A twice, and then we'll consider this our turnaround, a D, and then D real quickly twice. So that's our call and answer. Now G is our call twice, D is our answer. We'll do A, D, G, D, just like that 3 times. On the 4th time, when we hit the first D, we're going to go into, and then we're into the chorus out. All right, so let's go through the 4th bridge rhythm. All right. So when we go right after that, so right after those notes, that is the chorus taking us out. So the chords played during that are simply A held, D held, G held, and then back to D. All right, we'll do that 3 times. The 4th time, we're going to go through A to D 3 times and hold that D. So let's do the 3rd time, A, D, G, D to our A, D, and we'll end it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we ended on an A. All right, so I've written all that out. You can follow this along. I absolutely love playing the rhythm of this and just jamming along. The lead's not real difficult, but it's not real pronounced either. So I'll show you the solo. First section of leads right here in the first position. We're going to go like this. Alright, so it's played very fast, even faster than I showed it there, but what we're doing is he starts out by sliding into 5 on the 2nd string, and then coming to the 3rd fret and pulling off to open, and then the 2nd fret of the 3rd string pulled off to open and back on to 2. So we have this. Then we take 2 again, bend that up and hit 3 right below it. Then we're going to hit 2 again, bend, release, and pull off to open, catching 2 on the 4th string. So what we have so far is this. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next part, we're going to bend 2 up. And then catch the first, that's on the 3rd string, catch the 1st string, open twice. Then we're going to do some pull-offs from 3 to open on the 2nd string, catching 2 on the 3rd string, back to open on the 2nd. Then we go to 2 and we're going to bend it up, release, pull off to open, but then we come back to 2 and slide to 4. Catching the 1st string at 3, back to the 3rd string at 4, and then 3rd string at 2nd to finish. Alright, very blues-based. Great licks you can add to your pocketbook. We'll go over it again slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next part of the lead kind of surprised me. It's got more of a pedal steel bend licks, more of country blues. But anyhow, what we're going to do is move up to this 9th position, then back to the 1st. Alright, so what we're doing is sliding into the 4th string at 11, then we come to the 3rd string 9, hit 11, pull back off to 9, and then hit 11 again, bent up. We'll catch the 1st string at 12. We're going to catch that, bend 11 up and catch 12 6 times total. Then we grab 12 on the 2nd string, bend 11 up at the same time. So that's twice. Then we come to the 1st position, hit the open 1st string. We'll hit 3, pulled off to 2, back to open. Then we hit 2 on the 2nd string and slide up to 5. Hit 5 again. Then we're going to come up to take that 2nd string, move it up to 8 and the 1st string at 7, and we'll bend 8 slightly while hitting 7. And then catch 9 on the 3rd string to end. Alright, so all together slowly. 2nd measure of the solo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, the 3rd measure of the lead will combine the open position along with the 5th position. It'll sound like this. Alright, so what we're doing, we're sliding into 5 and the 2nd string catching the 1st string twice. We'll do that a total of 5 times. Last time we just stay on 5 and hit the open string once. And then we're going to take the 7th fret of the 2nd string, bend that up and catch 7 underneath afterwards twice. Then we'll bend them together twice. Then we do this little lick. So we're going from 5 on the 1st string to 8, 7, 5, landing on 6 on the 3rd string to 5 on the 2nd twice, and the 2nd time slid back down. So for the last measure of the lead, think of it, we're going to jump between the 12th position and the 15th position. So it'll start at the 12th position and sound like this. I'm just going to do half this measure. Alright, so what we're doing is hitting 14 up, catching 15, and then we hit them together as the 14 is bent twice. We're going to do that again, but then we'll bend, and as we bend, we're going to release and pull off to 12 on that 3rd string, land on 14 on the 4th. We'll catch the 12 on the 3rd and 2nd string to 12 on the 3rd twice. Alright, so we have this so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we move it to the 15th position. We'll just stop there. It's a simple lick, but we got to shift positions from there. Alright, so what we're doing is hitting the 1st string at 15, to the second string at 17, pulled off to 15, landing on the third string at 16, back to 15 with some vibrato. Alright, and the very last quarter of the measure of the solo will sound like this. Alright, so we're on the fourth string at 14 to 12, 14 bent up, catching 15, and then 14 bent and 14 bent and slid down. So that is the whole solo. Now we'll go over the outro licks next. So during the outro chorus, Angus answers Malcolm's rhythm with these outro licks. They're just, I wrote each one out as they happen throughout the song. So the first one you'll hear will be this. Alright, basically the 12th string, we're going to bend that up, bend it up again with some vibrato, and then hit 14 on the 4th string and slid down. Alright, the next lick you'll hear will be this. Alright, so what we're doing is bending, we're holding the second string at 10 and the third string at 12. We'll bend that 12 twice. The second time has a little vibrato to it. Then he goes to 14, slides down, alright, and then we're going to go to the second string, 13, 15, then 15 bent and released, ending on 14 slid down. Alright, so that's the second lick you'll hear. The third lick, so we're unison bending on the second and third string, 10 and 12, and then we move to 10 and 13. Then we hit 13, unbent, 13 bent twice. With vibrato and pulled off. Okay, so that's the third. Fourth lick will be between the, we're going to be at the 14th position. So we're hitting 14 on the third string to 15 on the second, 13 bent with vibrato. Okay, so again, I know these aren't really heavy licks, but they're answers to the chords and just fit the song really well. So the fifth one, all right, what we're going to do between 13 on the second string and 15. So basically we're hitting 13, let's see how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, bent. Then we hit 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. That's the next one. So the very last lick of the solo will go like this. Basically what we're doing, we're taking the second string at 8 bent and then hitting 5 on the first string, coming back to 8, 7, 5. Then we hit the open third string and then come to the 7th fret pulled off to 5. Then open 4th string and then back to the 3rd string, 7 pulled off to 5 twice. Then open 3rd string, and then 2 pulled off on the 3rd string to open, and the 4th string. Then we catch the 5th string at the 3rd fret, and end with 4 hits bent on the 5th string. And those are all the little licks that you hear, and as you get them under your fingers, learn them and play them at speed, it sounds killer. It's just a really fun song to play. So I really hope this helps everybody. Again, my notes are linked below with Riff Station if you want to download that. It's free and really helps with pulling out the leads and so forth. a lot of YouTube videos on how to use it. So it's free, so enjoy.